Ever seen a wrestling match take a wild turn? WWE wrestlers have faced fierce opponents, but nothing prepares them for unexpected animal attacks. From snake bites to dog fights, these unforgettable moments have made history. Join us as we explore the rare instances when animals stole the spotlight in the ring. Jake the Snake Roberts. Let's begin with the infamous Python attack. Jake Roberts was legendary for his intimidating presence and his even more intimidating pet python, Damien. Damien was Jake's loyal sidekick, and how he managed to tame such a wild creature was anyone's guess. But one night, things took a dramatic turn. In the middle of a heated match, Damien suddenly turned on Jake. The python began to coil tightly around Jake's arm and won't let go easily. The crowd was stunned as they watched the master of mind games struggle with his own snake. Officials rushed into the ring to assist, and for once, Jake looked genuinely concerned. Jake the Snake Roberts was known for using fear to his advantage, bringing his huge python into the ring with a sack. His wrestling technique was a combination of both pain and intimidation. And mind you, his DDT move was one of the deadliest in WWE history. Let's rewind a little and explore how he started. Roberts was born into a wrestling family, and he followed in his father's footsteps. He started wrestling in the early 70s and later made a name for himself in Southern wrestling promotions. However, his big break came in 1983 when he won the NWA World Television Championship with Georgia Championship Wrestling. But that only marked the beginning of his successful wrestling career. Roberts later joined WWE in 1986, bringing his skills and deadly DDT move with him to the spotlight. His first match made a big impact when he defeated Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. The aftermath of the match was brutal after he gave Steamboat a DDT that got him hospitalized. But that's not all. Roberts also stirred up drama with his talk show, The Snake Pit, where he shared controversial opinions. His show was quite similar to the famous Piper's Pit show in the 90s. Despite being a villain, fans loved cheering him as he made his entrance into the ring. At the time, his rivalry with wrestlers like the Honky Tonk Man, $1 Million Man, and Andre the Giant was a trending topic in WWE. Now back to his pet python, Damien. Andre's snake was a terror even to big opponents like Andre the Giant. Everyone was scared of challenging Roberts to a duel. In the early 90s, Roberts continued causing chaos, facing off with WWE superstars and beyond. He even went to the extent of challenging superstar Martel to a blindfold match at WrestleMania 7. After 6 years as a terror champion, Roberts left WWE to explore other promotions. He went on to wrestle in WCW and other smaller wrestling societies. But guess what? Roberts wasn't going to leave WWE that easily. He was determined to prove his dominance, and so he returned to wrestle Stone Cold Steve Austin at the infamous 1996 King of the Ring event. But that wasn't going to be the last time he challenged WWE wrestlers. In 2005, he challenged Randy Orton right before Orton was going to wrestle The Undertaker. However, Orton evaded the challenge, and Roberts openly called him a coward. Jake the Snake Roberts' time in WWE was undoubtedly epic, and he left a lasting impact in the industry. Definitely, you'd expect him to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. He got inducted into the list of icons on April 6, 2014. Roberts later released a video of himself titled "Pick Your Poison," where he spoke openly about his career. Now, let's have some more epic incidents about Jake Roberts' python, Randy Savage. The rivalry between Randy Savage and Jake the Snake Roberts was already intense, but it reached a whole new level in the ring one fateful night. In the midst of their heated confrontation, Roberts dramatically unleashed his python from a sack, directing it towards Randy. But before Randy could react, the snake had sunk its fangs into his arm. In a shocking moment, the arena fell into stunned silence as the venomous snake continued its assault on Randy. Surprisingly, Randy bravely maintained his character, refusing to back down. It's sometimes amazing how these wrestlers could be so tough. But what do we know about Randy Savage? Known by his real name Randy Poffo, Savage was one of the most dynamic superstars in wrestling history. Here's an introduction if you're hearing his name for the first time. Randy Savage earned his fame with several record-breaking wins. He won 2 WWE championships, 4 WCW World Championships, and a 14-month reign as Intercontinental Champion. However, his journey to stardom did not just happen overnight. Savage almost pursued a career in Major League Baseball. Thankfully, his father convinced him to pursue wrestling. Fast forward to 1973, Randy Savage made his first appearance in a grand wrestling ring.
Randy Macho Man Savage!
At the time, he was popularly called the Spider, and this was because he made ring entrances as a character resembling Spider-Man. After years of commitment and hard work, his big break came in June 1985 when he joined WWE. Surprisingly, Savage made a quick impact in the industry. His first major achievement was reaching the finals of the Wrestling Classic in November 1985. It was just about 5 months in WWE, and he had reached the finals. There was no doubt he was going to win the trophy, and yes, he didn't let his fans down. He defeated Tito Santana Santana to claim his first WWE title. Savage became a WrestleMania icon, featuring at events like WrestleMania 2, where he defended the Intercontinental Championship against George the Animal Steele.
Look at that! A Macho Man attacking the animal!
His reign continued until WrestleMania 3, where he famously faced Ricky Steamboat in a classic match, but he didn't stop at that. In 1988, Savage won a tournament at WrestleMania 4 to become a globally renowned WWE champion. He later formed a dominant team with Hulk Hogan known as the Mega Powers. This team was a terror, and they kept on winning their way into WrestleMania 5, 7, and 8. By the time Randy Savage retired in 1999, he was popularly known as the Macho King. This was a testament to his lasting legacy in wrestling. He was also celebrated for his iconic catchphrase, "Ooh yeah." Following his untimely death in 2011, he was posthumously honored by Time magazine and later inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2015. Speaking of animal attacks, ever heard of the British Bulldogs? The British Bulldogs. These guys were never without their loyal bulldog Matilda. She was as much a part of the team as the wrestlers themselves, but even the sweetest dogs can have a bad day. During a major WWE event, Matilda suddenly started to attack her own handlers. Perhaps she sensed the tension inside the ring, but it was a night the British Bulldogs would never forget. The usually docile and friendly dog showed an unexpected aggressive behavior, leaving everyone stunned. But what do we know about the British Bulldogs? Well, the iconic team started with just one person, Davy Boy Smith. He was famously called the British Bulldog. According to Smith, he started his wrestling journey as a skinny teenager in England. Smith later teamed up with his cousin Tom Billington, and soon they were popularly known as the British Bulldogs. But these guys had a vision and were determined to become superstars. Smith and Billington trained hard, both as partners and rivals, and soon they caught the eye of wrestling legend Stu Hart. In the early 80s, Stu Hart invited them to his Stampede Wrestling in Calgary, and this was where their journey to fame began. They later joined WWE as the British Bulldogs, bringing along their bulldog Matilda. Fans loved their thrilling matches, especially against Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart. And if you're a fan, you'll agree that moments from those matches are some of WWE's most iconic. The big moment for the British Bulldogs came at WrestleMania 2, with rock star Ozzy Osbourne cheering them on. There was a grand celebration after they won the World Tag Team Championship. Sadly, the Bulldogs split up after a chain match in Calgary. Reasons for their split remain unknown. On January 28, 1990, they officially declared they were no longer a team. However, Smith returned solo in 1990 with a new look. He left WWE for Japan, and there he won the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam 1992. This was a remarkable milestone for him as he celebrated in front of 80,000 fans at London's Wembley Stadium. But that's not all. Smith later wrestled in both WCW and WWE, teaming with wrestlers like Lex Luger and Owen Hart to win more titles. As a singles competitor, he won the European and Hardcore Championships and faced off with stars like The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Sadly, Davy Boy Smith died of a heart attack on May 18, 2002. However, his impact on WWE continues through video games and the WWE Network. In 2020, he was posthumously inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame for his contributions to the sport. Let's discuss another wrestler who has experienced some animal fury in the ring, Bobby Heenan. Bobby the Brain. Heenan was a cunning guy who loved to cheat his way through matches. However, in a fierce match with the British Bulldogs, Heenan had an unforgettable experience with Matilda, their dog. After trying one of his usual tricks, the Bulldogs unleashed Matilda on him. In a sudden turn of events, Heenan took off running around the ring with the dog right behind him. The crowd went wild, laughing and cheering as Heenan finally got what he deserved. Bobby Heenan had a career that spanned over 4 decades in WWE. He later became the cunning manager behind some of the biggest superstars in wrestling history. Interestingly, Heenan never denied his use of cunning tricks. However, he was considered one of the best in the business, often cleverly avoiding the consequences of his actions. Under Heenan's guidance, WWE superstars formed a group known as the Heenan family. This was a name that showcased their strength above the usual wrestling stable. Heenan scoffed at the term stable, likening it to a place for fly-infested horses, and so he preferred to call his group family.
Because this is the Bobby the Brain Heenan family.
The members of the Heenan family need no introduction. The group featured legends like AWA champion Nick Bockwinkel and the inaugural WWE Hall of Famer, Andre the Giant. In 1987, Heenan achieved a significant milestone as a manager when he led Andre to the ring at WrestleMania 3. It was a rare moment for him as he celebrated with Andre in front of 93,173 fans at the Pontiac Silverdome. But Heenan didn't end his career as a manager. Beyond managing, he excelled as a commentator, calling himself a broadcast broadcast journalist. Heenan was part of the original broadcast team for Monday Night Raw in 1993. Throughout this period, he was at the announcer's table for most Raw and WCW events. Heenan was also known for speaking his mind and entertaining fans with his funny accent. He was never shy about playing favorites or engaging in lively arguments. Often he'd banter on live radio with his longtime friend Gorilla Monsoon during matches. Together, they criticized opponents or rivals they deemed unworthy. He believed in entertaining the WWE universe in his own unique way, and this ultimately earned him a well-deserved induction into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2004. Reflecting on his career, Heenan once said, "I was allowed to express myself and bring my comedy into a business I often thought needed a kick in the pants." Next up is the famous The Birdman, Koko B. Ware. Koko B. Ware was famous for his colorful outfits and his equally colorful pet parrot, Frankie. His bird usually added fun and uniqueness to Koko's entrances, but one night it decided to shake things up. Koko B. Ware was in the middle of a match when something unexpected happened. Frankie flew off its perch and went straight for Koko, pecking at him wildly. The audience couldn't believe their eyes as Koko tried to chase off his own pet parrot. Popularly known as the Birdman, Koko brought a different energy to every match he wrestled. He was usually dressed in colorful outfits, and he had a large fan base, especially among the younger crowd. What really set Koko apart was his parrot, Frankie. Wherever Koko went, Frankie was there, becoming just as famous as the Birdman himself. Although Koko never held a championship, he achieved significant victories during his time in WWE. Remember his memorable win over Nikolai Volkov in November 1986? The Saturday's main event was tense as the stakes were very high for Koko. However, his win that night marked an unforgettable moment in the history of WWE. In 1992, Koko partnered with Owen Hart to form an energetic team called High Energy. Together, they defeated many reigning champions in the 90s. But Koko wasn't just a wrestler, he was a good singer too. Outside the ring, Koko showcased his vocal talents when he sang the title track on WWE's album Piledriver. He also made a cameo in its music video. In March 2002, something quite sad happened. Koko lost his parrot, Frankie, in a house fire. According to Koko, he was summoned to the house during church after someone told him his home was burning down. A neighbor said that they couldn't have known Frankie was in the house, as it usually followed Koko everywhere he went. But that wasn't the only sad incident Koko had in his personal life. In September 2009, Koko lost his wife to cancer. However, he later remarried Tamala James in 2020. But did you know Stu Hart had his own share of memorable attacks? Stu Hart. Stu Hart was a legendary figure in wrestling, known for his rigid and no-nonsense attitude. But Hart took things to another level when he decided to wrestle a Bengal tiger. This wasn't a prank, it was a real live tiger. The match was as intense as you'd expect, with Stu controlling the powerful beast. At some point, the tiger had a grip on Stu's right leg, and it was starting to look really dangerous. However, Stu displayed his incredible strength and skill, and the promotional event was a success. Stu Hart is known for such displays of strength and skill in the ring. But what do we know about him? Stu's journey into wrestling began unexpectedly in New York City, where his strong physique and talent caught the eye of manager Toots Mondt. Mondt saw something special in Stu and decided to launch him into the wrestling world. It was at this time that Stu met Helen Smith, who would later become his wife for more than 5 decades. Remember WWE superstars like Bret Hart and Owen Hart? The Hart dynasty is a famous name in the wrestling world today. But how did it all start? Well, Stu and Helen's kids all ended up following in their dad's footsteps. Let's rewind a little. Stu and Helen settled in Canada, where Stu started Stampede Wrestling, a family-run operation that became a launching pad for future stars like Jake the Snake Roberts. Stu also had a wrestling gym called The Dungeon, where he trained up-and-coming wrestlers. But that wasn't the only thing he did there. He also taught wrestlers how to fight animals like tigers in his dungeon. Stu was known for his tough coaching style, pushing his students, even his own boys, to their limits. In an interview, Bret Hart revealed that it wasn't easy for them, but it paid off big time. And truly it did. Bret and Owen later became huge names in WWE, thanks to their dad's guidance. As the years went on, Stu had to step back from wrestling. He developed health issues like arthritis and diabetes.
Please welcome the one and only Stu Hart and the Hart family!
However, he kept coaching young talent well into his golden years. His sons took over the family business, making sure Stu's legacy lived on. Stu Hart passed away on October 16, 2003, but his impact on wrestling is still felt today. In 2010, he was rightfully honored with a spot in the WWE Hall of Fame. Up next is the Great Sammartino. Now let's discuss the famous wrestler who once fought a bear, Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant was famous for his incredible size and strength. However, he had one of his most unforgettable experiences in WWE when he entered the ring with a bear. The match was meant to demonstrate Andre's dominance, but the bear proved to be a tough opponent. The fight was intense, with Andre sustaining minor injuries to his arms. Despite this, Andre skillfully controlled the animal, ensuring the promotional event was a success. Reflecting on this encounter in an interview, Andre candidly admitted that it could have easily gotten out of hand that night. Andre's life story is nothing short of extraordinary. According to him, his condition set him apart early on, and he was often called a monster. Andre the Giant was afflicted with acromegaly, a condition causing accelerated bone growth. By the time he was 12, he had reached a height of 6'3" and weighed 200 pounds. However, Andre made a life-transforming decision when he became a teenager. Rather than letting his size define him, he embraced wrestling at just 18 years old. He quickly became a star, captivating audiences everywhere he went and earning plenty of fans. This journey led Andre to WWE, where his dominance was unmatched. For nearly 15 years, Andre remained undefeated, a record that even the mighty Hulk Hogan couldn't beat. But Andre wasn't just making waves in the wrestling world, he was also a movie star. Beyond the ring, Andre achieved success in TV, making memorable appearances on shows like The Tonight Show and The $6 Million Man. However, it was his role as the gentle giant Fezzik in the iconic film, The Princess Bride, that gave him global recognition. Throughout the 80s, Andre continued to dominate the wrestling world, beating every wrestler that came his way. However, his legendary unbeaten record finally ended in a historic match against Hulk Hogan, marking a turning point in WWE history. Despite this, Andre's star continued to shine brightly in WWE, where he won several championships in his later years. Sadly, he died on January 28, 1993, after struggling with various health issues. In the history of WWE, Andre the Giant's name will forever be remembered. 1 year after his death, he was posthumously inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Speaking of giants, next up is the Great Khali. Remember the famous promotional event where the Great Khali fought a tiger? It was a daring move as Khali stepped into the ring with the fierce animal. The atmosphere became tense as the tiger circled Khali. In a sudden twist, what was meant to be a show of strength became a fight for survival. Khali found himself struggling with the tiger, extending the event beyond the scheduled time. Khali eventually managed to control the tiger, but that night remains unforgettable in the history of WWE. The Great Khali's journey from India to WWE is nothing short of legendary. If you've watched him before, then you know he had this battle-ready mentality. Khali made history as the first Indian wrestler in the WWE. His talent and size made him an iconic figure in the wrestling world. At the peak of his career, the Great Khali faced off against wrestling icons like The Undertaker, Kane, Big Show, John Cena, and Shawn Michaels. However, his crowning achievement came in 2007 when he won a 20-man battle royal on SmackDown. His outstanding performance at WrestleMania that year fulfilled his dream of becoming World Heavyweight Champion. As you'd expect, Khali's success in WWE propelled him to national hero status in India and beyond. He transitioned seamlessly into acting, appearing in blockbuster films such as The Longest Yard, Get Smart, and MacGruber. His charisma also landed him guest roles in popular TV shows like Outsourced and Pair of Kings. But his story doesn't end there. Khali's career reached a pivotal moment when he breached a ring rule to win against The Undertaker at Judgment Day. Khali clearly lost the match, but he received assistance from his friend Daivari. This set the stage for a high-stakes last-man-standing match at SummerSlam. The Undertaker won the match, and this marked Khali's first significant loss in WWE. In November 2014, Khali decided to retire from active wrestling to return to India. There, he continues to inspire and mentor aspiring WWE superstars. Now let's see what happened with Scott Steiner and his pet tiger, Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner once had an unexpected encounter with his own pet tiger during a WCW event. The usually calm tiger suddenly became restless, and in a sudden turn of events, it began to attack its owner. What started as a playful moment quickly escalated, prompting Steiner to call on officials to help control the situation. Scott Steiner, popularly known as Big Papa Pump, had a great wrestling career filled with iconic moments. According to Steiner, the name Big Papa Pump was given to him by his hot lady fans who had a crush on him. Scott's journey to stardom was closely linked with his brother Rick. In 1989, the Steiner brothers formed one of the most celebrated tag teams in sports entertainment history. They dominated WCW, winning the WCW tag team titles 7 times and the United States tag team titles once. But their success wasn't confined to WCW. In the early 90s, they went on to WWE, where they clinched the WWE World Championship twice consecutively. After their time at WWE, the Steiner brothers returned to WCW in 1996, where they wrestled iconic iconic teams like Harlem Heat and the Outsiders. However, in late 2000, Scott and Rick began experiencing issues as a team. Scott often refused to tag his brother into matches, eventually leading to their split and Scott's solo career. This separation allowed Scott to up his game, undergoing a physical transformation and returning to TV with a massive build. For the rest of his wrestling career, Scott won multiple championships in WCW, ultimately claiming the world title in 2001. Throughout his career, Scott Steiner was known for his unique talent and memorable catchphrase, "Big Papa Pump is your hookup. Holler if you hear me." To this day, the catchphrase remains fresh in the minds of fans around the world. In 2022, Scott Steiner received a well-deserved induction into the WWE Hall of Fame, alongside his brother Rick Steiner. Next up is the iconic Triple H. Remember the night when Triple H was attacked by dogs in the ring? Triple H is no stranger to dog attacks, but his most memorable incident was probably when someone unleashed 2 Rottweilers on him. This happened right as he was about to enter the ring. Triple H is undoubtedly a major figure in WWE history. Known by his real name, Paul Levesque, he was famously called the King of Kings. He earned this title through his unique influence on other wrestlers in the industry. But Triple H didn't rise to prominence overnight. He started as a trainee, working his way up into the spotlight. Remember the rebellious group D-Generation X? It was a team co-founded by Triple H with a few other superstars of his time. The group has been instrumental in shaping WWE's future, mentoring stars like Randy Orton and Batista. Throughout his career, Triple H won the World Championship 14 times. This was a record-breaking achievement in WWE at the time, but there's more to the story. Triple H also had memorable moments in several WrestleMania matches, earning him the nickname the Cerebral Assassin. Even legends like The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin respected his ring tactics. His finishing move, the pedigree, was the scariest of all. Later in his career, Triple H gradually transitioned to being WWE's Chief Operating Officer. In this executive role, he continued to positively influence the company while still competing in the ring. His positive influence has also extended beyond the ring, and it's worth mentioning. In 2014, Triple H and his wife Stephanie founded Connor's Cure, a cancer fund in honor of Connor the Crusher Michalek. This was shortly after the young WWE fan passed away from cancer. As of today, the fund has raised nearly $4.5 million, supporting research grants and helping families battle pediatric cancer. After 30 years of active involvement in the industry, Triple H retired in 2022, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire future generations of wrestlers and fans alike. Now, let's explore another moment when a wrestler was attacked in the ring. Roman Reigns. As one of the most iconic wrestlers of all time, Reigns was classic with every move he made in the ring. And yes, he's had his share of animal attacks too. One memorable incident was when The Miz unleashed his dog Monroe on Reigns. This happened right before the match began. Thankfully, the situation was quickly resolved and the dog was put back on the leash. From his days as the Shield's enforcer to his quest for WWE championships, Roman Reigns has always commanded attention. But let's take a look at how he started. Reigns began his wrestling career in 2012 as a member of the Shield. He wrestled alongside Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins in several matches before the team disbanded in 2014. For Reigns, this was not a setback, but an opportunity to transition to a solo career, marking the beginning of his rise to stardom. Fearlessly, Reigns faced legends like Brock Lesnar, John Cena, and Triple H, securing his place as a superstar. A key moment came at SummerSlam 2018, when Reigns defeated his longtime rival, the Beast Incarnate. It was a remarkable moment in history as Reigns lifted the Universal Championship belt. However, in 2018, Roman Reigns announced he was battling leukemia and had to give up his title to focus on his health. But Reigns wasn't going to give up that easily. A few months later, we saw him return to TV. His powerful comeback at SummerSlam 2020 marked a new era. This time, Reigns expanded his control over WWE, becoming the longest reigning Universal Champion. A year after his return, he solidified his dominance by defeating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 38 to become the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. His long reign as a champion is proof of his legacy as one of the greatest wrestlers ever. Reigns now stands as the tribal chief in WWE, where he redefines what it means to be a WWE superstar. Let's discuss another moment of a dog attack in the ring, the Junkyard Dog. Sylvester Ritter, better known to wrestling fans as the Junkyard Dog, was an iconic WWE wrestler. Adding to his persona was his faithful dog, who accompanied him to the ring. However, during one match, his dog unexpectedly turned on him. The usually loyal pet became aggressive, snapping at JYD and causing chaos in the ring. Fans were shocked as the wrestler struggled to regain control of the situation. Sylvester rose to fame in Mid-South Wrestling under popular promoter Bill Watts. His unique persona, complete with a dog collar and chains, quickly made him a fan fan favorite. Despite his big stature, JYD amazed everyone with his agility and toughness. He had legendary matches with wrestlers like Ted DiBiase, the Fabulous Freebirds, and Butch Reed. In just 2 years, JYD had received multiple championship awards in the industry. You could predict he'd move to WWE. JYD made his WWE debut in 1984 and instantly became a crowd favorite. His unforgettable entrance to Grab Them Cakes and his powerful finishing move, the Thump Power Slam, made him a tough competitor. Although he never won a WWE championship, JYD's popularity increased throughout the 1980s. He wasn't just a WWE star, he was also famous for promotions like WCW and MLW. JYD participated in events like WrestleMania, where he faced Greg Valentine for the Intercontinental Championship belt. Tragically, Ritter's life was cut short on June 2, 1998. He was only 45 years old at the time of his death. According to reports, Ritter was driving home after his daughter's graduation when he had a fatal car accident. In 2004, the Junkyard Dog was posthumously inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, honoring his legacy as one of the most iconic and influential wrestlers of his time. Next up is the wrestling legend Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan. Remember when Hulk Hogan was attacked by a bird? It was in a thrilling episode of Monday Night Raw when a bird came out of nowhere and pecked at him. Quite funny, as this happened right after Hulk Hogan had made his entrance. Sources later revealed it was part of a promotional event staged to feature the wrestling legend. Hulk Hogan's impact in the wrestling world is unmatched. He set the standard for what it meant to be a WWE superstar. With his iconic yellow and red attire, Hulk Hogan won the hearts of millions, calling his loyal fans Hulkamaniacs. If you watched Hulk Hogan in his prime days, you'll remember his matches were always spectacular. Hulk Hogan became super famous in 1984 when he defeated the Iron Sheik to win his first WWE championship. But he wasn't just a wrestler, he was also a pop culture icon. Hogan usually urged fans to say their prayers and eat their vitamins, and this message made him a beloved hero inside and outside the ring. Speaking of legendary moments, during his tenure at WWE, Hulk Hogan had iconic wins against superstars like Roddy Piper, King Kong Bundy, and Ultimate Warrior. In the mid-90s, he made a big move to WCW and shocked everyone by becoming the leader of the New World Order. This change gave his career a huge boost and helped WCW reach new levels of success. But Hulk Hogan wasn't going to stay there forever. He returned to WWE in 2002, bringing back his heroic persona. And within 2 years of his return, he won another WWE title. Shortly after securing his second WWE title, Hulk Hogan received a well-deserved induction into the WWE Hall of Fame. Even after retirement, he made a memorable comeback to WWE in 2014, where he hosted WrestleMania 30 and continued to inspire new generations of fans. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.